Commander Vex 9 of the Galactic Enforcement Division had seen many things in his 47 cycles of service. He had witnessed the plasma wars of Sector 7, survived the Great Molting Crisis, and even negotiated peace with the dreaded slime lords of Proxima Beta. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared him for what he was about to witness on this backwater planet called Earth. "Sir, we have confirmation," announced Lieutenant Krell 2, his tentacles twitching nervously over the control panel. "The human settlement has been breached. Initial scans show 2 life forms inside the restricted zone." Vex 9's 4 eyes rolled in what humans might call exasperation. The Galactic Council had been very clear about Earth's quarantine status. No interference, no contact. Just observe and document the primitive species until they developed faster-than-light travel. Simple enough, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. "What kind of life forms?" Vex 9 asked, though he already dreaded the answer. "One appears to be a juvenile human, approximately 8 Earth years old. The other." Krell 2 paused, his voice dropping to a whisper. "The other is classified as Mellivora capensis." The bridge fell silent. Even the ship's atmospheric recyclers seemed to hold their breath. Vex 9 felt his secondary stomach drop to his feet, which was quite an accomplishment considering his species had neither stomachs nor feet in the traditional sense. "A honey badger," he croaked. "A honey badger and a human child? Together? In our research facility?" "I'm afraid so, sir." Vex 9 slumped into his command pod, his exoskeleton making a sound like rustling aluminum foil. The research facility on Earth's surface contained some of the most dangerous xenological specimens in the galaxy. Plasma beetles from Rigel 7, acid-spitting Venusian deathworms, the legendary phase spiders of the Andromeda cluster, all contained behind force fields that could withstand a supernova's blast. "How did they even get inside?" he demanded. Sub-Lieutenant Yax 14 cleared his throat equivalent. "Well, sir, it appears the human child was attempting to retrieve what Earth humans call a frisbee that had landed near our cloaked facility. The creature designated Mr. Patches was accompanying the juvenile." "Mr. Patches," Vex 9's voice rose 3 octaves. "They named it Mr. Patches." "Yes, sir. According to our behavioral analysis, the human child considers the honey badger to be a pet. If Vex 9 had possessed the ability to laugh hysterically, he would have done so. Instead, he made a sound like a deflating balloon mixed with the death rattle of a space whale. A pet. They called a honey badger a pet. The same species that had been declared a Class A galactic threat after a single specimen had somehow escaped containment on a Zephyrian prison ship and proceeded to eat its way through 3 decks of reinforced titanium steel composite. "Sir," Krell 2 interrupted his mental breakdown, "we're receiving audio transmission from inside the facility. Should I patch it through?" "Do we have a choice?" Vex 9 muttered. The bridge speakers crackled to life, and suddenly they were listening to the voice of 8-year-old Emma Thompson, though they didn't know her name yet. To them, she was simply Terran Juvenile Unknown. "Okay, Mr. Patches, I think we're lost," came the small, surprisingly calm voice. "But look at all these pretty lights." "Oh wow, is that a giant space bug?" The sound of claws skittering across metal flooring could be heard in the background, followed by what the ship's computer helpfully translated as aggressive interest vocalization from the honey badger. "No, Mr. Patches, we can't eat the space bug. It might be someone's pet too." Vex 9 found himself simultaneously impressed and terrified. The child was showing more diplomatic restraint than most Galactic Council members. "Sir," Yax 14 whispered, "they're approaching Containment Unit 12. Unit 12. Vex 9's blood, or whatever passed for blood in his species, turned cold. Unit 12 contained the most dangerous specimen in their collection, a creature so lethal that even mentioning its true name was forbidden in polite society. They simply called it the Void Stalker, and it had taken the combined military might of 12 star systems to capture just one. "Emma, come back! Don't go near the sparkly purple thing. Too late." Through their security feeds, they watched as the human child approached the containment field that held the Void Stalker. The creature, resembling a cross between a black hole and a very angry octopus made of pure malevolence, had been dormant for 3 standard years. But now, sensing new prey, it began to stir. "Oh, it's waking up!" Emma's voice carried genuine delight. "Hi there, pretty creature. Are you lonely in there?" The Void Stalker's 18 eyes opened, each one burning with the fury of 1,000 dying suns. It pressed against its containment field, causing reality itself to bend and warp around the edges. "That's not good," Krell 2 observed with remarkable understatement. "No, Lieutenant, that's catastrophically bad," Vex 9 corrected. "If that thing escapes containment, it could devour this entire solar system before lunch." On the screen, they watched Emma press her small hand against the containment field. The Void Stalker reciprocated, placing what might generously be called an appendage against the barrier from the inside. For a moment, predator and prey regarded each other with what almost looked like mutual curiosity. "You know what? You remind me of my Uncle Bob's cat, Whiskers. He's really grumpy too, but he just needs extra love." The Void Stalker, a creature that had consumed entire civilizations without batting an eyelash, tilted what might have been its head in apparent confusion. "Sir," the ship's computer announced in its annoyingly cheerful voice, "I'm detecting an anomalous energy signature from Containment Unit 12. "Define anomalous," Vex 9 said through gritted teeth equivalents. "The containment field is destabilizing, current integrity at 73% and falling. The bridge erupted in controlled panic." Officers scrambled to their stations while others began composing what they assumed would be their final reports to the Galactic Council. "How is that possible?" Vex 9 demanded. "That field was designed to hold a collapsing star." "I believe," said Dr. Quinn 5, the ship's xenobiologist, "that the answer lies not in the field's weakness, but in an unprecedented interaction between human emotional radiation and the creature's psychic matrix. In terms even a fleet commander can understand, Doctor. The human child is literally loving the containment field to death, sir." The absurdity of the statement might have been funny under different circumstances. A universe-devouring monster was about to be released because an 8-year-old girl was being nice to it. "Mr. Patches, look, it's trying to communicate." Indeed, the Void Stalker had begun what could only be described as purring. The sound was like a black hole gargling with dark matter, but there was an oddly soothing quality to it that made several bridge officers feel inexplicably drowsy. "Containment integrity now at 51%, the computer cheerfully announced. "Options?" Vex 9 barked. "We could evacuate the system," suggested Krell 2 hopefully. "We could attempt to transport the human child and her companion to safety," offered Yax 14. "Doctor," Quinn 5 said thoughtfully, "we could observe and document. This interaction is unprecedented in galactic history." "Observe? Observe." Vex 9's voice cracked like a teenage Zephyrian going through molt puberty. "That thing is about to break free and consume everything in 100 light-year radius, and you want to take notes?" "Actually, sir," Dr. Quinn 5 pulled up a series of readings on his tablet. "I'm detecting something remarkable." The creature's aggression levels are dropping rapidly. Its psychic emanations have shifted from universe-ending rage to something more akin to mild curiosity with undertones of maternal affection. "Maternal affection? From a Void Stalker?" The honey badger appears to be contributing to this phenomenon as well. Its presence is somehow amplifying the human child's empathic field. On screen, they watched Mr. Patches waddle up to Emma and nuzzle against her leg. The honey badger then did something that no member of its species had ever been recorded doing in the presence of a cosmic horror. It sat down and began grooming itself, completely unconcerned by the writhing mass of tentacles and teeth just meters away. "Containment integrity at 38% and still falling. Sir, perhaps we should..." The sentence was cut off as the containment field finally gave up the ghost with a sound like reality hiccuping. The Void Stalker, free for the first time in 3 years, slowly oozed out of its prison. Its massive form filled half the chamber, a living nightmare of shadows and hunger that had haunted the dreams of 1,000 civilizations. Emma clapped her hands together. "Yay, you're free. Do you want to play fetch?" Mr. Patches loves fetch, but he's not very good at bringing the ball back. The Void Stalker, a creature that had literally eaten entire star systems, looked down at the tiny human child who barely reached its lowest appendage. For a moment that stretched into eternity, two vastly different forms of life regarded each other. One was an innocent child who saw the good in everything. The other was the accumulated nightmares of a galaxy made manifest. Then the Void Stalker did something that sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council's xenological database. It sat down, like a dog waiting for a treat. "Oh my God," whispered Krell 2. It's domesticated itself." Emma giggled and patted what might have been the creature's snout, causing it to emit that strange purring sound again. Mr. Patches, meanwhile, had grown bored with the cosmic horror and had wandered off to investigate a particularly interesting smell coming from Containment Unit 7. "Sir," Dr. Quinn 5's voice was filled with scientific wonder, "I'm reading emotional bond formations between all 3 subjects. The human child has somehow managed to create a pack dynamic that includes both a terrestrial mammal and an extra-dimensional predator." "A pack?" Vex 9 felt his worldview crumbling like a cookie in a black hole. They've formed a pack? The implications are staggering. If humans can naturally pacify Class A galactic threats through simple emotional projection, we're looking at a complete restructuring of how we classify dangerous species. Yax 14 finished. "Should we alert the Council?" Before Vex 9 could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Red warning lights bathed the bridge in an eerie glow as the computer's voice, no longer quite so cheerful, announced the next crisis. "Alert, containment breach in Unit 7. Alert, containment breach in Unit 11. Alert, multiple containment failures detected throughout the facility." On the main screen they could see the cause of the new problem. Mr. Patches, in his infinite honey badger wisdom, had decided that the glowing force fields looked like they might be hiding something interesting. And when a honey badger wants to investigate something, mere energy barriers designed to contain cosmic horrors are just suggestions. "Is that—" Krell 2's voice trailed off as he watched the footage. "Is that creature just walking through our containment fields?" "Honey badgers, Doctor," Quinn 5 said with the tone of someone making a terrible discovery, "appeared to be naturally immune to quantum containment technology." Mr. Patches emerged from what had been Unit 7, now carrying what looked like a glowing purple egg in his mouth. Behind him, the facility's second most dangerous prisoner, a crystalline being of pure malice known as the Shard King, tentatively poked its head out of its former prison. "Emma!" called the honey badger's human companion. "Mr. Patches found a pretty rock. Can we keep it?" The pretty rock was actually a neutron egg, capable of collapsing into a miniature star if handled improperly. Mr. Patches was carrying it like a dog with a tennis ball, his tail wagging with pure joy. "The facility is experiencing cascade containment failures," the computer reported with what sounded suspiciously like resignation. "All primary containment units are now compromised." Through their security feeds, Vex 9 and his crew watched in horrified fascination as the galaxy's most dangerous specimens began emerging from their prisons. But instead of immediately beginning a rampage of destruction, they seemed curious. The plasma beetles from Rigel 7 clustered around Emma like metallic puppies. The phase spiders materialized in a neat line, as if waiting for instructions. Even the Shard King, a being of such pure hatred that its mere presence usually drove lesser species insane, was cautiously approaching the little girl with what could only be described as respectful interest. "She's collecting them, Doctor," Quinn 5 breathed. Like a human child collecting pets at an animal shelter, Emma had noticed the gathering crowd of cosmic horrors and clapped her hands in delight. "Oh, wow. There are so many of you. Are you all friends? Do you want to be friends with me and Mr. Patches?" The question hung in the air as dozens of the galaxy's most feared creatures considered the proposition. The Void Stalker, apparently having appointed itself as pack leader, made a low rumbling sound that the ship's translator interpreted as cautious agreement with terms and conditions. "This is unprecedented," Vex 9 muttered, watching his life's work crumble around him. 30 years of xenological research, and it turns out the most effective containment protocol is a human child being nice to them. "Sir," Krell 2 interrupted, "we have a new problem. Long-range sensors are detecting incoming ships. It appears to be a Zephyrian battle fleet." Of course, because things weren't complicated enough already. The Zephyrians were the galaxy's self-appointed police force, and they took containment breaches very seriously. Very, very seriously. The kind of seriously that usually involved sterilizing entire star systems and asking questions later. "Time to intercept?" "Approximately 15 minutes, sir." Vex 9 looked at the chaos unfolding on his screens. A human child had accidentally released every dangerous creature in the galaxy's most secure facility and was now apparently conducting some sort of interspecies friendship workshop in the ruins. A honey badger was playing fetch with a weapon of mass destruction. And a Zephyrian battle fleet was incoming with enough firepower to crack planets. "Well," he said to no one in particular, "this is either going to be the greatest diplomatic breakthrough in galactic history or the shortest war on record." In the facility below, Emma had managed to get the Shard King to sit in a circle with the other creatures, like the world's most dangerous story time. Mr. Patches had buried his neutron egg in a corner and was now investigating whether the plasma beetles were edible. The Void Stalker continued its strange purring, a sound that was beginning to have an oddly calming effect on everyone present. "You know what we need," Emma announced to her new collection of friends. "We need snacks." Everyone loves snacks. And with that innocent declaration, Phase 2 of what would later be known as the Thompson Incident was about to begin. "Snacks," Commander Vex 9 repeated slowly, as if the word might make more sense the second time. "She wants to feed them snacks." "Sir," Dr. Quinn 5 looked up from his readings with the expression of someone who had just solved the universe's greatest mystery. "I believe the human child is attempting to establish a feeding hierarchy. In many Earth species, the provider of food becomes the pack leader. So you're telling me that an 8-year-old is about to become the alpha of the galaxy's most dangerous predators because she wants to give them treats?" "That appears to be the situation. Yes, sir." Vex 9 made a noise that sounded like a dying space accordion. Below them, Emma had begun rummaging through what appeared to be her backpack, producing items that made the bridge crew question everything they thought they knew about human nutrition. "What is that substance she's distributing?" asked Lieutenant Krell 2, watching through the security feeds as Emma handed out colorful objects to her new friends. The ship's computer, ever helpful, provided an analysis. Scanning indicates processed sugar compounds combined with artificial flavoring agents and food dyes. Earth designation, gummy bears. "She's feeding weapons of mass destruction. Candy?" Yax 14's voice cracked. The results were immediate and terrifying. The plasma beetles, upon receiving their gummy treats, began glowing brighter and making sounds that the translator interpreted as joyful chittering. The phase spiders, not to be outdone, flickered in and out of dimensional space in what appeared to be an expression of gratitude. The Shard King, a being of crystalline hatred, actually smiled. It was a horrifying sight that would haunt Vex 9's dreams for cycles to come, but the most alarming reaction came from the Void Stalker. Upon receiving a handful of gummy bears, the cosmic horror began to giggle. The sound was like reality itself having a mild nervous breakdown, but there was no mistaking the emotion behind it. "Sir," the computer announced with its increasingly strained cheerfulness, The approaching Zephyrian fleet has just increased speed. Estimated time to arrival, 7 minutes. Open a communication channel, Vex 9 ordered. Maybe we can explain before they start shooting. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the angular features of War Commander Zax Prime, leader of the Zephyrian Enforcement Division. His species looked like someone had crossed a praying mantis with a particularly unpleasant tax auditor, and his reputation for dealing with containment breaches was legendary throughout the galaxy. Commander Vex 9, Zax Prime's voice buzzed with barely contained fury. Our sensors indicate massive containment failures at your research facility. We are prepared to implement Protocol Omega unless you can provide immediate justification for the continued existence of this star system. Protocol Omega. The phrase sent chills through everyone on the bridge. It was the Galactic Council's final solution for containment breaches. Complete sterilization of everything within a 50 light-year radius. War Commander, the situation is unique. We have achieved an unprecedented level of specimen control through unconventional methods. Unconventional methods? Zax Prime's mandibles clicked ominously. Explain. Vex 9 glanced at his crew, all of whom were suddenly very interested in their control panels. Well, sir, it appears that a juvenile human has successfully pacified all escaped specimens through friendship. The silence that followed was so complete that they could hear the cosmic background radiation humming through the ship's hull. Friendship, Zax Prime repeated, his voice flat enough to iron laundry on. Yes, sir. She gave them candy and asked them to be friends, and they agreed. Another pause. This one lasted long enough for several nearby stars to complete their fusion cycles. Commander Vex 9, are you suffering from acute space madness? I wish I were, sir. But I'm transmitting our security feeds now. See for yourself. On the screen, they watched Zax Prime's expression shift from skeptical annoyance to complete bewilderment as Emma conducted what appeared to be an impromptu tea party with beings that had previously required entire fleets to contain. Mr. Patches had appointed himself as security chief and was making regular patrols around the perimeter, the neutron egg still clutched proudly in his jaws. Is that honey badger carrying a Class 7 stellar compression device in its mouth? Zax Prime asked faintly. Yes, sir. He thinks it's a toy. And the Void Stalker is playing patty cake with a human child. That's our assessment, yes, sir. They watched as Emma taught the Cosmic Horror a complicated hand-clapping game, which the creature attempted to replicate with its various tentacles and appendages. The result looked like someone trying to conduct an orchestra made entirely of angry snakes, but the effort was there. This is impossible, Zax Prime muttered. Our entire military doctrine is based on these creatures being incapable of peaceful interaction. Sir, Dr. Quinn 5 interjected, if I may offer a scientific perspective, human children appear to possess a natural empathic field that operates on frequencies we've never encountered. Combined with the honey badger's apparent immunity to standard containment protocols, they've created a perfect storm of diplomatic effectiveness. You're saying this child is a natural ambassador? More than that. She's a living universal translator for emotional intent. Every species we've tested responds positively to genuine care and attention, but most adults have lost the ability to project such pure, uncomplicated affection. Zax Prime was quiet for a long moment, watching as Emma attempted to braid the Void Stalker's tentacles while Mr. Patches supervised from his position atop a pile of contented plasma beetles. War Commander, Vex 9 said carefully, I formally request a delay in Protocol Omega implementation. This situation may represent the greatest breakthrough in interspecies relations in galactic history. Or, Zax Prime countered, it could be an elaborate trap by creatures intelligent enough to mimic docility until they can escape and resume their destructive behavior. As if summoned by his words, Emma looked up at one of the security cameras and waved enthusiastically. Hi there! Are you watching us? We're having so much fun. Do you want to come play too? I have more gummy bears. The bridge fell silent again. The child was directly addressing them, somehow aware that she was being observed by worried alien commanders. How is she doing that? Krell 2 whispered. Human children, Doctor. Quinn 5 explained, possess remarkably acute situational awareness when it comes to adult supervision. She probably sensed our observation through the same empathic channels that allowed her to pacify the specimens. She wants us to come down there, Yax 14 observed unnecessarily. Absolutely not, Vex 9 said firmly. I'm not risking my crew in that facility, no matter how friendly things appear. Actually, sir, the ship's computer chimed in, I've been analyzing the energy readings from the facility, and I believe the human child has somehow created a localized peace field. Aggression levels within a 50-meter radius of her position have dropped to virtually zero. A peace field? That's theoretically impossible. Many things about this situation are theoretically impossible, sir. On screen, Zax Prime was having what appeared to be a heated discussion with his own crew. Finally, he turned back to the communication channel. Commander Vex 9, I'm going to do something that goes against every regulation in the Zephyrian military handbook. I'm granting you a temporary stay of Protocol Omega, but only under the following conditions. Name them. First, you will maintain constant surveillance of the situation. Second, at the first sign of aggressive behavior from any of the specimens, we implement immediate sterilization. Third, he paused, looking uncomfortable. I want to send down a diplomatic observer. Sir? If this child truly represents a new form of interspecies communication, the Galactic Council needs to know. But I'm not risking a full crew, just one volunteer observer. Vex 9 looked around his bridge. To his complete lack of surprise, every single officer was suddenly fascinated by their instrument panels. I'll go, he said finally. As ranking officer, it's my responsibility. Sir, Krell 2 protested, that's extremely dangerous. What if the peace field fails while you're down there? Then you'll have approximately 30 seconds to say goodbye before the Zephyrians turn us all into cosmic dust, Vex 9 replied cheerfully. Prepare the transport pod. 20 minutes later, Commander Vex 9 found himself standing at the entrance to what had been the galaxy's most secure containment facility. The massive blast doors had been somehow wedged open by what appeared to be strategic application of honey badger determination and 8-year-old curiosity. Taking a deep breath of recycled air, he stepped inside. The first thing that struck him was the sound. Instead of the usual ominous humming of containment fields and the distant roars of imprisoned monsters, he heard something completely unexpected. Laughter. Actual, genuine laughter from creatures that weren't supposed to be capable of joy. He rounded the corner and found them. Emma sat in the center of what had once been the main containment chamber, surrounded by a circle of the galaxy's most feared creatures. They were playing what appeared to be a game involving colored stones and a lot of giggling. The Void Stalker was gently patting a small pile of pebbles with one tentacle while making sounds of concentration. The Shard King was meticulously arranging its stones by color, occasionally making what the translator interpreted as pleased crystalline chiming. Mr. Patches, meanwhile, had discovered that plasma beetles made excellent heating pads and was now sprawled contentedly across 3 of them, his neutron egg safely buried nearby. Oh! Emma looked up as Vex 9 approached, her face lighting up with genuine delight. You came to visit. That's so nice. What's your name? I'm Emma, and this is Mr. Patches, and these are all my new friends. She gestured around the circle with obvious pride. That's Sparkles, she pointed to the Void Stalker, and that's Prisma, indicating the Shard King. And those are the Buzzy Boys. She waved at the plasma beetles and the Blinky girls, nodding toward the phase spiders. Vex 9 stood frozen as every head, appendage, and sensory organ in the circle turned toward him. For a moment, he was certain his life was about to end in a spectacular display of cosmic violence. Instead, the Void Stalker, Sparkles, made a low, welcoming rumble and shifted slightly to make room in the circle. Sparkles likes you, Emma announced. Come sit with us. We're playing Stone Garden, and Prisma is winning because she's really good at making patterns. Moving like someone in a dream, Vex 9 approached the circle and carefully sat down between Emma and what had previously been designated as Specimen 7 Alpha, a creature whose mere presence had once driven 3 different research teams to temporary madness. "Here," Emma said, pressing a handful of smooth stones into his hand. "You can be on my team. The rules are easy. You just have to make something pretty, and everyone gets to say what they like about it." As Vex 9 began arranging colored stones under the encouraging supervision of cosmic horrors-turned playmates, he realized that everything they thought they knew about the universe was wrong. The most dangerous creatures in the galaxy weren't monsters at all. They were just lonely beings who had never been offered friendship instead of fear. "Sir," came Krell 2's voice through his communication device. "How are things down there?" Vex 9 looked around the circle. The Void Stalker was helping Emma spell out words with pebbles. The Shard King was teaching the Phase Spiders how to make geometric patterns. Mr. Patches was dreaming honey badger dreams while using a creature that could devour planets as a pillow. "Krell 2, he said quietly. "Contact the Galactic Council. Tell them we need to completely revise our first contact protocols." "Sir?" "And contact the Thompson family on Earth. Their daughter just solved the galaxy's oldest problem with a bag of candy and an afternoon of playtime." Emma looked up from her stone spelling and smiled at him. "Are you having fun, mister?" "This is the best day ever. Wait until you meet my mom and dad. They're going to love all my new friends." Vex 9 looked at the child who had accidentally become the galaxy's greatest diplomat, then at the honey badger who had single-handedly revolutionized containment protocols by completely ignoring them, and finally at the circle of former cosmic horrors who were now arguing politely about whose turn it was to choose the next game. "Yes, Emma," he said, carefully placing another stone in his pattern. "I think they're going to love them very much." And as the Zephyrian fleet stood down and the Galactic Council prepared for the most unusual diplomatic summit in history, Commander Vex 9 learned something that would change the course of interstellar relations forever. Sometimes the most powerful force in the universe isn't technology or weapons or containment fields. Sometimes it's just an 8-year-old girl who believes everyone deserves to be friends, and a honey badger who doesn't care what anyone thinks is impossible. The Thompson incident, as it came to be known, marked the beginning of a new age of galactic diplomacy, an age where first contact, protocols included juice boxes, story time, and the revolutionary concept that maybe, just maybe, being nice to people might actually work, even if those people happen to be eldritch abominations from beyond the stars. After all, everyone likes gummy bears.